So, did you know that in some parts of Samuel, the book of Samuel, like it actually
sometimes my coworkers, like when you do something they don't like, my coworkers like, don't ever do that ever again in your entire life, and they say that whole thing when I do something that's like, you know, to annoy them, to bother them. That's what they respond with.
I would say that too.
No, you wouldn't, because you wouldn't say it the way they say it. Like, it's like a, you know, one of those things that they say a certain way. It's like their old saying, you know. You could say it, but would it be the same?
Yeah,
no.
never ever say that again, ever in your life. Don't come to my house. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up.
So are we gonna say
don't
that
even look at me. Don't talk to me. Why are you still talking? That's crazy, right?
What?
Nah, that's wild. Why are you still talking?
Yo, relax.
My bad, yo. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Wake Up episode. Woo! What's up, guys? Welcome back to the In the Fire podcast.
Yes,
we love you. We thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening on Spotify, iTunes,
you're darn tootin'. Sorry.
We appreciate whether you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, or watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, share. We love you. Check out the TikTok, the Facebook, the shorts, the everything. We love you. But welcome back to the In the Fire podcast. This is me and this is him.
This is him. This is me.
Yeah, exactly. That's Lewis, and you guys know what my name is. But
do you know what your name is?
What's my name?
I'm not saying that.
What's my name?
I'm not answering that question.
Lewis was my name.
Don't ask me that.
Lewis was my name.
No.
What you mean no?
No, just continue.
Wait, so
bro.
we say your name, but we don't say mine? Bro. I said your name. I said you're Lewis.
Yeah,
what's my name?
What's my name?
What's my name?
What's my name?
I already said your name. What's my name?
It? What's my name?
What's my name?
I'm not answering that.
That's crazy. You guys see how disrespectful
they know.
it is?
They know your name
I
already,
set
right?
my side.
They know your name.
Set my pride
ask
aside.
it differently though.
All right, what's my name?
No, I'm not. Ask it differently.
Yo, why you have so much pride?
Bro.
Everybody, we gotta pray for Lewis's
There's
pride.
no pride here.
Wait,
It's
so
just
why
a
can't
matter
you
of
answer?
respect.
Exactly, respect me.
No.
I said your name.
There's no way.
I said your name.
No,
I
ask
said
it
your
differently,
name.
and then I'll say it.
All right, what is my name? What's my name?
Don't say.
All right, we're about to move on. If you're not gonna say my name,
I'm not. Yeah, you're right.
His pride is too high, guys.
I'm not. There's no pride here. There's no.
We're gonna pray for him so that.
Pray for me.
All right, good. We will pray for you.
Okay, good. Yeah,
we will pray for you.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys are having an amazing day, an amazing week.
Yes, we do.
Make sure to check out the most important link in the description, that being the Patreon. It is the family for us.
Yes.
You can be a part of the family. Come join us, where we pray for each other, we connect, we do monthly groups together where we study the Word of God. It is a beautiful community. Join it. You do not want to miss out.
And for the fam, we love you.
And if you're already on there, we do love you. But today we want to do something really interesting.
Yes, we do.
We want to do something pretty new that we haven't done before, kind of. But today we're going to talk about and study together.
And study together.
The story of David and Goliath.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we want to go through the story of David and Goliath. We're going to talk about what we pull from it, what we think, what lessons we see personally. And this is just a disclaimer. We don't know everything.
Yes. Say that.
So
say it again.
Yeah, we don't know everything. And so if we did miss things in the story, because we 100% will, even if you're a top theologian, you'll always miss something, because you can always find something new in the book of God, in the Word of God. And so we're going to just go through it, talk about what we pull from it, things that apply to us youth, us young adults, and like how significant this is. And, talk about just David and this challenge he encounters with this giant. And so if you know the story of David, you still want to stick through to the whole episode.
Even if, a lot of people that aren't even believers, if you haven't even read one word of the Bible, you probably know about David and Goliath.
Right.
And even if you know like the big part, like, David did this with like David's slingshot, whatever, there's so much to take out of it.
Yep.
Like, and have that heart of not like, yeah, I know that right now. No, like just listen and have a heart to be like, all right, let me see something new, because there's a lot to see in it.
And I'm telling you right now, if you're thinking about it, we're not going to sit here and tell you, what's your Goliath? Like, bro, I know you guys have heard that so many times. What is your Goliath? What is the giant in your life?
Too.
Like,
I was thinking of that
we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I mean, maybe for a little bit, but...
What is a giant? But anyway,
exactly. But stick around, because there's a lot of really good stuff in this story.
Yeah.
Now, this starts off with God absolutely obliterating Saul.
Yeah.
He's just like, yo,
go away from me.
I'm done.
I
up.
rejected you.
Yeah, I just don't like you anymore. No, it's like, yo, God's like, I have rejected him as king.
House.
Don't come to my house. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't
come to my house.
But he rejects Saul. He rejects King Saul, and
because of disobedience.
Because of disobedience, and God is in search for a new king. God is in search for a new king, and so he sends Samuel.
Which I learned that Samuel had like a lot of different roles. Like, there's not just one point. He was like, I think it said that he was the last judge. He was a prophet. He was a commander of something. Like, he had a lot of different roles.
Very much used by God.
For this, I think like we can mainly just say he was a prophet.
Okay, yeah. So he tells Samuel, that he has rejected Saul. He needs a new king for Israel, and so he says, go to this man named Jesse. And so he sends him there.
I've picked one of his sons to be king.
He says, go to Jesse and pick one of his sons to be king.
For I've picked one of his sons to be king, yeah.
Oh, yeah, God has already selected him. Super dope, by the way.
Yes.
Just imagine being in Samuel's position, first of all, and it's like, God is so specific to the point where he's like, go to this person's house. Like, look for a man named this. Like, God, it's like, if God said right now, yo, Lewis, I need you to go to Texas and find this man named Jonathan. He has 8 sons. I need you to bring one back to New Jersey.
Okay. like I don't know how I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, it's like, what?
I guess I'll try to figure it out.
Make a government announcement saying, yo, I'm looking for this man named Jonathan.
Go on social media, like, yo, please, guys, God said to me, God told me. Yeah.
Crazy, right? I mean, right here in this is 1 Samuel 16. Find a man named Jesse who lives there, for I have selected one of his sons to be my king.
Yes,
Crazy.
Sir.
But Samuel asked, how can I do that? If Saul hears about it, he will kill me. Take a heifer with you, the Lord replied, and say that you have come to make a sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you which of his sons to anoint for me. Tough.
Very tough.
Tough. So God's like, okay, yeah, if Saul finds out, he's going to want to kill you, yeah, blah, 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 but I'm God, So just...
He may want to, but...
what? Like, come on, man. Like, Sammy, are you serious right now? Like, I wouldn't be sending you if you're about to die to Saul's hands. Like, come on, right? Like, come on.
Crazy.
Anyways, no hate to Samuel. It's an honest question. It's fair.
Yeah, we probably do too.
And so Samuel did as the Lord instructed. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town came trembling to meet him. Why are they trembling, bro? Why are you so scared? What's good with you? They're scared because they're scared that Saul will find out and kill them. Because look, Saul at this point is a very dictator type king. He does not want his position to be threatened. And now, like, you can tell when God isn't, like, a king is not backed by God anymore, and a king can tell that. And so he fears for his position to be taken.
Crazy.
So he's like, yo, I can't have any kings, like, being anointed. I can't have any of that. Like,
anything going on that might, like, take my position or something.
Yeah, and who does this remind you of? King Herod? With Jesus, when Jesus was being born,
killed all the.
Yep, he's like, what? Somebody's being anointed king? No, I gotta stop this. So we see, these people trembling to meet Sam. He says, "What's wrong?" They asked. "Do you come in peace?" Like, Samuel's an alien at this point. Like,
pretty sure.
Do you come in peace?
Like, he's, Samuel is a big guy. Everybody knows him. He's
well named, well respected, I guess.
So like, why are you here? Like,
prophet of God.
Yeah, there's like, why are you here? Like, what's going on? Like, like, what is God trying to tell us?
Did we do something wrong? Like, that's crazy. And so Samuel says, yes, Samuel replied, I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Purify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. Then Samuel performed the purification rite for Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice too. So Samuel's like, all right, bet, Jesse, here's this thing we're going to do. Bring your sons with you, please. When they arrived, Samuel took one of Eliab and thought, surely this is the Lord's anointed. So he took one of Jesse's sons.
The oldest, I'm pretty sure, is the oldest.
The oldest, yes.
Which makes sense, right?
Of course.
He sees the oldest son, and he's like, okay, like what I imagine Samuel was seeing here is this guy, I'm guessing he's the tallest, probably the strongest. He's the oldest, meaning he's more experienced. Yeah. He's more mature. You would think he's more mature. We know that age and maturity, whatever, right? And so, like, all these qualities, and Samuel like instantly sees him. He's like, "Oh, that has to be it." He's the tallest. He's probably the tallest, strongest, most mature, most experienced, oldest. Like, that has to be it.
The obvious choice.
The obvious choice.
Right.
And then the verse that you know, if you keep reading the verse that I always say, I always talk about on this episode, like God says it.
Hold up.
Go
All
for
right.
it,
So then it says, right
here. I got
6.
it.
Go ahead.
It says.
Oh yeah. Verse 7.
Verse 7. So, you know, again, this is after Samuel's like, yo, this guy has to be it. Then God's just like, yo, don't judge by his appearance or height, for I have rejected him. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart.
Come on, bro.
And it's just like,
this verse needs to be remembered.
Yeah.
Remembered for when we talk about it later in the episode too, because I will have to say something about it. But God says to Samuel, don't judge by height or appearance.
Yeah.
Appearance being how big they are, how good looking they are, anything. Don't judge a book by its cover, because I have rejected him. That is not the one I have chosen to be king of Israel. So Samuel's like, okay, all right. So I guess second height. Like, what are you talking about? But to me, this is very interesting, and it shows a character of God that we see throughout the whole Bible, right? We see God look at the inner of somebody and not the outer, right? And so he says, somebody worth leading my people, I am not looking at height or appearance. I'm looking at the heart. Because look, if I have somebody tall and strong being king of Israel, what is that going to do when they need to make very important and wise decisions that can affect thousands of people's lives? What is it good that he has strong biceps and that he's 6'4"?
And I'm pretty sure when it comes to Saul, you know, like they chose Saul because he was very tall and he was very strong. He's like a strong, tall guy. Like, oh my gosh, like the people chose Saul to be king because of his appearance. And look what happened.
Crazy.
It's like, do you want to look the part or be the part? You know.
And so I think God like tells Samuel an important lesson here, and all of us.
Yeah. Where
it was the same thing, where it's like, in the eyes of God, God doesn't see the way we see it. He literally says that God doesn't see things the way you see them. That is straight from the Bible. That's not for me. That the Bible says that the Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. And so when we are looking
at a situation,
we're looking at our friends, our family, we're looking to pick somebody to be a part of our team. We're looking for anything, a spouse, a partner, anything. Are we looking at the height and the appearance? Are we looking at the appearance? Us dudes, when we're trying to pick a girlfriend and a spouse, are we looking at the appearance or are we looking at the heart?
Crazy.
We should have the eyes like God has them, so that we're looking at the heart. We're not looking at the appearance. Same thing for the gals, you know? Same thing for everybody.
Of course.
But I think this is a really big lesson that God teaches us right here. But let's continue. Then Jesse told his son Abinadab to step forward and walk in front of Samuel. So Jesse's like, all right, yo.
He's like, all right, next guy, go. Next son.
Like, all right, Jesse.
What I imagine is like, you know, they all like just standing shoulder to shoulder, like just sitting there, you know, like oldest to youngest and stuff. And
wait, like, do you think they know what's going on? Do you think they know they're getting, I guess, interviewed to become king of Israel?
I mean, I think to a point they not interviewed to become a king of Israel, but I do think that, I guess since it's Samuel, right, a big name, he's going to his family. He wants to see all of his sons. Like they could imagine, oh, this is something important, something God wants. Like, oh my gosh, like, and so that's why, like, I think, you know, the fact that Samuel's like, no to this guy, no to this guy, because you know it's like a straight line.
And also the fact that Jesse tells his son to walk. He's like, yo, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah. Kind of like letting him know, like, all right, like you could be picked.
Up and
go ahead.
Yeah.
It's your turn. But Samuel said, this is not the one the Lord has chosen. So I think, all right, first Samuel takes his own wisdom or his own understanding, and he says this has to be the one to the oldest. And then God's like, no. Samuel learns pretty fast.
Quick renewing of the mind, right?
Quick renewing of the mind, and Samuel's like, you are not the one that the Lord has chosen. So he knows.
This has to be the one.
Wait, know, so he
can't be the one.
He knows. Samuel knows by now. And so next Jesse summoned Shimea, but Samuel said, neither is this the one the Lord has chosen. Now, Jesse presents the three oldest. He presents his three sons, and he's like, yo. In the same way, all 7 of Jesse's sons were presented to Samuel.
Imagine that. It's like, okay, you go up.
All of them.
You go up.
No.
Nah. You go up. Nah. And it's just so funny because you keep reading. It's like, bro, like everybody, and then he goes up to Jesse and he's like, "Yo, do you have any more sons?"
Yeah, yo, how disrespectful! Like, yo, this can't be it, right? Like,
do you have any more sons? And it's like, oh, yeah, bro, this is insane. It's
crazy. But so here it says, but Samuel said to Jesse, "The Lord has not chosen any of these." Then Samuel asked, "Are these all the sons you have?"
Yeah.
"There is still the youngest," Jesse replied, "but he's out in the fields watching the sheep and goats." "Send for him at once," Samuel said. "We will not sit down to eat until he arrives." To me, this is big for a couple reasons.
Okay.
I believe there was a tension between David and his father.
Interesting. Okay.
I think there was not a healthy relationship between those two. I think there was kind of this rejection that was going on between Jesse because, first of all, Jesse didn't even present him. He's like, he says, Samuel says, "Oh, do you have sons?" He's like, yeah, but he's out in the fields. He's doing the dirty work. He's taking care of the sheep.
Interesting.
You're not going to want to see him. That's how I read this. And in Hebrew translations, it kind of, the way Jesse describes David is kind of as unimportant. So, all right, Samuel says, "Do you have any more sons?" I do, but like, it's not worth your time. Why even bring him? Why even bring him? So there's this rejection coming from David's father of him being unimportant. But of course, the word of Samuel, the word of God, Jesse's like, all right, I guess we could bring him. And I think it's really cool that Samuel says, "We will not sit down to eat until he shows up."
It's just like,
kind of saying like, we're not moving on until I see this kid.
Crazy.
So it's kind of like standing up for David in a sense. But this kind of hit deep.
Wow.
Seeing Jesse reject his son.
I didn't view it that way. Honestly, I just viewed it more of like he's the youngest son. Meaning what? He's the weakest son. Most likely he's the weakest son. He's strength-wise. He's inexperienced. He's probably the shortest one out of all of them. Yeah. Again, everything just points to looking less than. He's just less. He's viewed down. He's less. Yeah. And the fact that I just feel like the way I thought about it was Jesse didn't even present him because he just felt like he just wasn't gonna be it. He wasn't. He's too young. He's too weak. He's too this. He's possibly too immature. All these attributes that just aim at like, you're less than, you're not enough, and so I'm not gonna bring you because I just don't. And so the fact that he's forced to bring him out because he just didn't think that he would be enough. Like that's how I view it. He just didn't think he wouldn't be, like, why even bring him? He's too weak. He's too young. He's too inexperienced. He's not mature enough. He's all this stuff. Like, he's just less. He's less than. He's less.
It's honestly kind of heartbreaking, and it makes me wonder if this relationship David had with his father result in some of the things in his later life. Like Bathsheba. Could that rejection from his father lead to him seeking
show up somewhere else? And the fact that David with his sons, it was very weird. He had he wasn't very present. He was like, there was some weird relationship with his sons in the future. So
interesting,
honestly,
right? There was a lot. There's that rejection from Jesse, but that was pretty heartbreaking to me. But we can continue. So Jesse sent for him. He was dark and handsome with beautiful eyes.
I read that. I was like, okay.
Come on, bro. Already,
okay,
like,
dude.
So already we see this rejection from Jesse, but not your father in heaven. We see a rejection from this humanly father, but not the rejection from your heavenly father. God, first of all, stands up for David through Samuel, says, we are not sitting down to eat until he shows up.
Crazy.
He rejects all of the obvious choices, and that's in quotes, but chooses David.
Wow.
So no matter how qualified you feel or how qualified other people are, if you are chosen by God, nothing is standing in the way.
Crazy.
Beautifully said. And then we see, obviously this was not written by Jesse because Jesse wouldn't have described him that way, but he was dark and handsome with beautiful eyes. So now we gotta see good-looking guys showing up. Why?
Of course, right? He has to be that guy. David and Goliath. He had to be good-looking, right?
And the Lord said, "This is the one. Anoint him." Instantly, boom, Samuel's like, as soon as he saw him, you're the one, anointed. So as David stood there among his brothers, first of all, that stood out to me. So as David stood there among his brothers,
Yep.
Samuel took the flask of olive oil he had brought, and
Poured it
anointed
over
David
him.
with the oil. And the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David from that day on.
Crazy.
Then Samuel returned to Ramah. So as David stood there among his brothers, why did that stand out to me? Because if you have brothers, you know how it is. There is like this pride thing that comes on. Like you just want to be better than your brothers and all that. It doesn't say how David's brothers were with him. But I imagine growing up
He's
with
the youngest.
that, but also growing up with that father that we just described, where it's like he was rejected. They kind of can take that and put it into their own hearts and their own minds. Like, all right, he's not important. You know, I imagine them stand up with their chest up, their muscles out. They're like, we're gonna be chosen. Samuel rejects all of them.
Crazy.
They feel that rejection. There's like, oh shoot, like I thought, we were worth.
I was gonna be the one.
I thought I was gonna be the one to see the little one get sent from the fields. That they had to wait for him to show up from the fields. By the way, we don't know how far the fields were, but maybe it could have been an hour, 2 hours, could have been more. They had to wait for David to wait to show up.
Crazy.
So now his brothers are there after being rejected, and they're like, all right, we got to wait for this little guy to show up, our little brother. The little brother shows up instantly. You're the one selected. Anoint him. And now I got to stand there and watch my little brother be anointed. As an older brother, ouch. Stings. Like, what did he do? What did he do right? I thought that was interesting.
No, and for me too, like what I get out of that is that, when, like you said, when God calls you to do something or calls you to something, don't look to the left or look to the right to see if somebody looks or seems more capable of doing what God has called you to do. Because like we said, like Eliab, the oldest son, and the other oldest sons just seem more capable and qualified to fit the position of a king because of their maturity, experience, how they look. Yet David, being the youngest, inexperienced, immature, weakest, all this less than attributes, less than like things, yet he was picked. And like that's just like, so easily you could just look to your left, look to your right, and be like, why me? Like why not him?
Right.
He's older. He's this. He's that. He's more experienced. Like why me? And it's like, no. If God called you to it, don't look to the left or to the right.
Wow.
Just receive that calling and
because if you were called, it was for a reason. It was because God knew you were capable. God would not have picked David if he knew he wasn't worthy of doing it. If he wasn't going to be capable of doing it. So he picked you for a reason. He picked David for a reason. And the thing is, you talked about those less than attributes. Yeah. But these less than attributes were things that we see from the outside appearance. But later we see...
like, what was in his heart? Only God.
Yeah, but later we see some of the preparation that David had before becoming king. Right? Yeah. And so we continue. David serves in Saul's courts. Should we... Okay.
We can go to 17.
We can go to 17. We'll jump to 17. Basically, that just talks about, David getting picked to
go help Saul play the harp because Saul was like his tormenting spirit, and like David played.
Saul was basically going.
So not only was David picked by God and he was handsome, he also played the harp. So like this guy's winning. God was like, this guy is gonna win.
He's
gonna win.
David in the modern world.
Chill.
You know what I'm gonna say. David in the modern world is like, all right, we're gonna be struggling with this man. Like,
that's a real guy right there, yo.
Like, I just picture him on stage, like with the harp, and
he's real though. Like he's not like just trying to, he's not faking nothing. Like his heart is.
He's focused on God.
Man after God's own heart.
A man.
Come on. All right.
All the godly women like, yo, it's like no. David, teach me how to play the harp. Anyways. So we jump to 17. Goliath challenges the Israelites. Here we go to the big stuff.
Goliath, the big guy that we all know. Now he's entering the scene right now.
Now, what I do want to say before we jump to Goliath, okay, is this David anointing when he was in the fields. They say he was around 8 years old.
No shot.
He was an adolescent. He was young.
He was 8 years old.
That's not the exact. That's what the studies estimate.
Okay.
Was that he was that
years
young.
old.
Yeah. So it's somewhere in that range that he was
12 or
no.
14.
It's possible that he was 8, 9, 10, maybe even 11. But I'm about to give you the other age once we read chapter 17 with Goliath. But
Okay.
the Philistines now mustered their army for battle and camped between Soko in Judah and Azekah at Ephes-dammim.
Ephes-dammim? Yo, these names do be crazy.
All right, these names be crazy. Saul countered by gathering his Israelite troops near the valley of Elah. So the Philistines and Israelites faced each other on opposite hills with the valley between them. First of all, this battlefield view, like the scene,
probably crazy, right?
is crazy.
2 hills, Israelite
two
one
armies
side, Philistines
facing
right there,
each other.
Valley right in the middle. Right in the middle.
Ooh.
Just looking like,
It's like a coliseum.
crazy.
Then Goliath, a Philistine champion from Gath, came out of the Philistine ranks to face the forces of Israel. He was over 9 feet tall. He wore a bronze helmet, and his bronze coat of mail weighed 125 pounds. He also wore bronze leg armor, and he carried a bronze javelin on his shoulder.
Dang.
The shaft of his spear was as heavy and thick as a weaver's beam, tipped with an iron spearhead that weighed 15 pounds. His armor bearer walked ahead of him carrying a shield. So all of this description is just to show you this. First of all, not only is he 9 feet tall, but he's not skinny.
This boy's strong.
Yeah, he's not
this boy built.
Yeah,
this boy built.
like I don't want you to picture some like really skinny, boned, 9 feet tall. Sure, like anybody could just wipe his legs out. No. This man was big.
This guy was yoked.
This man was big, bro. This man was big. If I had to look up at somebody that was 9 feet tall,
crazy,
bro, my neck would hurt.
Yeah.
My neck would hurt. Like, I wouldn't even want to look at him. Scary. Goliath stood and shouted a taunt across to the Israelites. First of all, I imagine this guy with a deep voice. Like, I mean, the Bible doesn't have to say it. Like,
it
has to be intimidating.
Has to be a mad intimidating voice.
Why are you all coming out to fight? He called. I am the Philistine champion, but you are only the servants of Saul. Choose one man to come down here and fight me. If he kills me, then we will be your slaves. But if I kill him, you will be our slaves.
Crazy.
I defy the armies of Israel today. Send me a man who will fight me.
So there, actually, what I get out of that is when I read the that one right there where it says, the one verse that I am the Philistine champion, but you are only the servants of Saul. Like, going back to the whole comparison thing, like, you know, we know, compare to despair. Do not compare yourself, because then that makes you feel less than, like, you can't do what God wants you to do. And so with this, like, you know, instantly he's just saying, like, I am a champion. I'm well known. I'm respected. I'm all the praise I get. I'm this big 9 foot tall guy. And he's like, you guys are just servants. And of course, like, he said that to the Israelites. And what he's doing there, he's like minimizing their self view of themselves. You know, like that they can never be a champion. They can never be this. They're just lowly servants. Yet he is this big champion.
Wow.
And like, I just view like another comparison of like, to minimize your own self view. And it's like, of course, the enemy wants to make you feel like you're less than, like you're not, that you can't do it, that you can't conquer this giant, you can't do these big things because you're little. And so just real quick, like I just saw that there, like easily he said that to minimize their own self view, so they wouldn't have the confidence or have the faith to do something as to go fight him and possibly win.
Goliath taunts them, calls them servants. If only he knew what was about to come. Anyways, here we go. Then we see, when Saul and the Israelites heard this, they were terrified and deeply shaken.
Just scared.
Bro, first of all, armies are as strong as their strongest link, in the sense of like
as their weakest link.
As their weakest link.
Like a chain is only as strong as its weakest
exactly.
link.
But what I was gonna say is like seeing their king, their leader, terrified. That's what I meant by strongest link. Like,
gotcha.
In authority, shaken and terrified.
Of course you're gonna feel that way. Of course. Oh man.
Like the person that leads you is so terrified. That is a sign of like, we can't win this. We lost. We're gonna die. We have no hope.
And God wasn't with Saul.
God was not with Saul. No, he was not.
The fact that he was so afraid.
So this whole army, everybody is shaken. Everybody's like, bro, this gigantic man we're about to become servants.
Insane.
Crazy. Jesse sends David to Saul's camp. Now, David was the son of a man named Jesse, an Ephrathite from Bethlehem,
Yeah, sure.
in the land of Judah. Jesse was an old man at that time. And he had 8 sons. Jesse's 3 oldest sons, Eliab, Abinadab, and Shemaiah, which we said before were the oldest that were presented, had already joined Saul's army to fight the Philistines. Okay.
Very fun.
David was the youngest son. David's 3 oldest brothers stayed with Saul's army, but David went back and forth so he could help his father with the sheep in Bethlehem.
Yep.
First of all, this stood out to me because we see the responsibility of David, not to mention that he was 8 years old taking care of the sheep. Now we have this big deal where his brothers are fighting in the army, and yet he still takes on the responsibility of taking care of the sheep of his father. Some may say this is the cheap responsibility, like the one that doesn't matter, but David still takes it as equal importance because he goes back and forth. He's like, okay, I need to go to Saul's army, but I also need to take care of my sheep. So we see something beautiful here where it's like David is responsible and disciplined with the small things that God gives him.
I take that too. When he left, he took care of,
It's nice. It's good. And so for 40 days, every morning and evening, the Philistine champion strutted in front of the Israelite army. 40 days is a long time, man.
The number of completion,
One day, Jesse said to David, take this basket of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread and carry them quickly to your brothers. And give these 10 cuts of cheese to their captain. See how your brothers are getting along and bring back a report on how they are doing. First of all, as a man, this must be difficult for David. I would imagine. You got all of your brothers are fighting for you, but you're just the water boy. You're seeing them do all the heavy work, all the battling, all the fighting. They're the fierce, courageous ones, but he's the water boy. Go take the cheese, go take the bread, give it to the captain, give it to them, see how they're doing, and come back.
Go take care of the sheep while they're fighting this in this army. Go keep doing that. Do all the little things.
So I would imagine this was hard for David. Right? David's brothers were with Saul and the Israelite army at the valley of Elah, fighting against the Philistines. So David left the sheep with another shepherd. Was he responsible? He didn't just leave.
That stood out to me too. It's like, all right, this guy, like, he's responsible.
He is. And set out early the next morning with the gifts, as Jesse had directed him. He arrived at the camp just as the Israelite army was leaving for the battlefield with shouts and battle cries. Okay. Soon the Israelite and Philistine forces stood facing each other, army against army.
Looking right at each other.
David left his things with the keeper of supplies and hurried out to the ranks to greet his brothers. As he was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, came out from the Philistine ranks. Then David heard him shout his usual taunt to the army of Israel. As soon as the Israelite army saw him, they began to run away in fright. Yo, David saw it firsthand. All these strong, courageous men,
people in armor, swords,
just like,
no.
This is what I imagine, right? They're feeling themselves. They're like, let's do this.
He's just getting there with like everybody like battle cries.
Yeah, they launch. Yeah, they're going crazy with the. They all see this giant. Turn around, yo, like run back. They instantly turn around, right?
Crazy.
Have you seen the giant? The men asked. He comes out each day to defy Israel. The king has offered a huge reward to anyone who kills him. He will give that man one of his daughters for a wife, and the man's entire family will be exempted from paying taxes. Huh. Okay. So
that's a nice reward.
So Saul's over here.
No taxes.
David asked the soldiers standing nearby, what will a man get for killing the Philistine and ending his defiance of Israel? Who is this pagan Philistine anyway, that he is allowed to defy the armies of the living God? First of all, very tough line by David. He just kind of says...
He just respects God. He's like... How?
Not
why
only
do-
not only respects God, but disrespects Goliath. He's like, yo, who is this guy? He said, what's my name?
It just shows his heart. It really. It just shows his heart. It's like who is this guy thinking that he can go against God? And I firmly believe he believed what he was saying there.
100%.
Like he's like, who would this guy think he is that he can win against God?
And we see that by his next
and
actions.
imagine a person saying that with so much belief and truth, like that David was. That I assume 100% that David was saying that with so much confidence.
Yep.
Like who does this guy think he is? Like he can't do that.
Nope. Crazy. It's such a tough line that he says, right?
Yeah.
And so he says, he says that.
So funny though. This moment. Keep going.
And these men gave David the same reply.
Yeah.
They said, yes, that is the reward for killing him. But when David's oldest brother, Eliab, heard David talking to the men, he was angry. What are you doing around here anyway? He demanded. What about those few sheep you're supposed to be taking care of? I know about your pride and deceit. You just want to see the battle.
All right. Okay.
All right, hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you have a brother, if you have a little brother,
come on.
it's just come on. It's like of course, it's not no justification at all. It's just you understand though.
You
it's
understand.
Like, you see your little brother. He's asking these people questions about like, oh, what will happen if like you're just like, what are you doing here? Like,
Yo,
why are you?
The adults are talking.
Yeah, like
please.
what are you doing? Like you're gonna do something. Like why are you asking these people what the reward is? You're gonna do like get out of here, go away. Like you're annoying. Like get out. Like why are you here? You're gonna do something.
I like that he throws in few sheep. Like he doesn't even.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, dude. It's like
don't you have a few like a little tiny sheep to go take care of? Like come on, bro. The big dogs are talking here. We're trying to win a war. Like get out of here. Not only does he do that, and then he throws in, I know about your pride and deceit. Like, he's just fully disrespecting his little brother. He's like, bro, get out of here.
It's like, you just want to see the battle. Like, go away. You're not. Why are you asking what the reward is? You just want to see it.
Crazy.
You're annoying.
Crazy.
And then David with his, which you'll see, his like, pristine little brother response.
What have I done now? David replied, I was only asking a question. Like
the most little brother response you can ever give somebody. Like, dude, what'd I do?
I was just asking a question. Like, come on.
It's like, what did I do now? I'm like, I was only asking a question. Dude,
he walked over to some others and asked them the same thing and received the same answer. So the little brother continues to just go ask questions.
And the cool thing, because what I saw here too was this was another moment of discouragement. Right, so before we had the comparison, he could have compared him. He could have compared himself to his brothers. I don't think he did, but like everything beforehand that could have discouraged him to do what he wanted to do. And then this one point, his older brother, somebody that he's been with for a long time, that he's lived with, that he probably respects what he says, tells him like, "Why are you here? Like, go and take care of the sheep." This is a moment of discouragement of like. Why are you here? Like, go home, go do your little sheep thing, go do your little like job, whatever. Like, why are you here? And so this is like just remember this. There's like some discouragement here. Like he's receiving discouragement of to possibly not go and defeat Goliath. But it's just some discouragement.
Yeah, we laugh about it as like being brothers and stuff, but this is real discouragement that you're talking about. This is something that's gonna stick with him for a long time. This is his family.
Word stick, especially from your family.
Yep. And so David just does his responsibilities, listens to his father, respects, he obeys. His father says, go do this. He's like, but why? I want to go fight, but why? I want to do this. No. He does the small things that God gives him, taking care of the sheep, doing this, respecting your father, still being rejected by his own family, but he's still like, you know what? I'm just being me. It shows his heart. It's beautiful. And then David's question was reported to King Saul, and the king sent for him.
Seems his interest paved the way for this whole situation to happen.
Okay, so God starts to orchestrate some stuff here.
That's honestly what I was thinking. The fact that he kept on asking people, it's like his interest. I don't know, like I'm trying to figure this out, but like this is my idea is like his interest in fighting Goliath, like his interest in asking the questions, kind of paved that way for him to eventually go and fight him. Yeah. So it's kind of like your interest could possibly pave a way. I don't know. Just something.
David kills Goliath.
Okay.
That's the title. That's not like...
Yeah, the Bible just be like...
Just spoiling.
Yeah, just spoil it, right?
Let me get to it. All right. Maybe I shouldn't have read that. Sorry, guys. Don't worry about this Philistine, David told Saul. I'll go fight him. What did you just say?
Dude.
First of all, here's what I wanted to say. I want you to know, once again, according to the studies,
okay,
these are estimates. David is estimated to be 15 years old here.
15-year-old guy. 15-year-old guy.
Don't worry about this Philistine. Don't worry about this silly guy.
Naive 15-year-old thinks he can conquer the world.
David comes up to the king of Israel at this time. He says, "Yo, don't worry about that goofball that's over there taunting you guys. Don't worry about him."
Anyway, he probably has some like,
I'll go
his
fight him.
little tunic on, whatever, his like little shoes. Like, yo, I got this. And he sounds like, bruh.
Bruh.
Let me get your goofy.
Saul says, "Don't be ridiculous." Saul replied, "There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You are only a boy, and he's been a man of war since his youth."
Just another
one.
Another discouragement. Just another one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many discouragement can this guy take if just like you can't do it?
Wow.
You're not gonna do it. You're like you're less than. You're not like everybody else. You're weak, or you're younger. You're this. You're that. You can't win it. You're young. And you're a boy. This guy's a man. Like, it's just another discouragement.
Yep. But this man David, he knows he's backed by God, so his worth doesn't come from the discouragement of other people, but of what God sees in him and what he knows he's capable of, right? He says, but David persisted, like the little boy that he is.
Of course.
"I have been taking care of my father's sheep and goats," he said. "When a lion or a bear comes to steal a lamb from the flock, I go after it with a club and rescue the lamb from its mouth. If the animal turns on me, I catch it by the jaw and club it to death. I have done this to both lions and bears, and I'll do it to this pagan Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God." Remember when I said he was 8 years old? So now we have this 8 to 14-year-old, let's just say. Let's give him that range. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say this man was 14.
Yeah.
Rescuing lambs from the jaw of lions and bears.
How did that happen?
At that age, I was fighting lions and bears in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Not that there's lions. Is there lions and bears in Minecraft? I don't know.
Lions, not maybe not.
But this boy was doing it in real life. What were you doing at 8 to 14 years old?
8 to 14, dude. It was Roblox, dude.
I was playing Minecraft. I was crying because I fell off my bike. Bro, David was taking care of sheep and lambs.
Crazy.
Fighting off lions and bears, killing them, taking the lambs out of their mouths. 8 to 14 years old. So at first when I read this, I was like, bruh, David's just trying to act tough, trying to say like, yo, like this is different. Lions and bears different than this giant that we're facing.
Yeah.
But then you look at his age, you're like, okay, you are that guy. I get it.
Yeah, and also, the fact his response is like, what he basically tells Saul is like, yo, God did it before, and he's gonna do it again. It's just that. It's like the situation is different, but my God is the same. So it's like whether it's a bear, a lion, a big 9-foot guy, my God is the same.
Wow.
My God never changes, and it's just like
he's helped me take care of my sheep before. Why won't he keep doing it again? Implying Israel needs a shepherd. Israel's
Crazy.
looking for a new king. Israel needs a shepherd, and Israel at this point needs to be rescued from the mouth of the lion. And David says, I'll do it to this pagan Philistine too. Doesn't even name him. Just disrespects Goliath. Thank you, David. For he has defied the armies of the living God. David is on defense for the name of God.
And it's just so cool because like he has so much honor and respect and fear. He's like how do you ever in your life think you can fight my God? Like how do you ever? And it's like I wish I could see him how he was saying this stuff. Like that's inspiring. That's why like people that have good leaders, it's inspiring when your leader is like, we can do this, and you see it in his eyes. And you see how he says it. So like you said with Saul, he was terrified. Everybody else was terrified, and then David being like weak, like that's
he shows up and he's
king.
like,
that's a king.
It's not even about fear. I at this point, I feel his anger of like, wait, we're really gonna let this guy
real
disrespect
anger and
God?
Like he's really confused. Like, why is happening?
Yeah.
Why are you guys scared? Like this can actually happen.
Facts. Like he just disrespected.
He's like dumbfounded. Like,
yeah. He's like,
what the heck? What's
what's
going on?
wrong with you? Crazy. So it's so beautiful. Like, so much to learn here. The Lord who rescued me from the claws of the lion and the bear will rescue me from this Philistine.
God did it before, he'll do it again.
He doesn't say, God rescued me from the lions and the bears, and I really hope this time he does it from the Philistine. He says,
He has so much faith.
Will rescue me from this Philistine. Wow. Saul finally consented. All right, go ahead, he said, and may the Lord be with you.
I don't know how to take that. He's just like, all right,
sarcasm.
let the Lord be with you, man. I don't know. I don't
He's
know
like, all right,
anymore.
I guess.
Just go for it.
May
Try
God
it out.
may God be with you, I guess.
Or maybe he was like, all right, may God be with you. Because maybe he felt it in his eye. I don't know. Could be anything.
Then Saul gave David his own armor, a bronze helmet, and a coat of mail. David put it on, strapped the sword over it, and took a step or two to see what it was like. For he had never worn such things before.
Bro.
I can't go in these, he protested to Saul. I'm not used to them. So David took them off. He picked up 5 smooth stones from a stream and put them into his shepherd's bag. Then, armed only with his shepherd's staff and sling, he started across the valley to fight the Philistine.
That's like the best part of it. Like, you read that, you would think, like, you know, he's gonna go fight this big giant, and so he's like, oh, you know, go put on the armor. It's like, oh yes, I'm putting on the armor. I'm getting the sword. Yeah. I'm gonna look official. I'm gonna look the part now. I'm the real deal now because I have the armor on. Yeah. And he's like, I doesn't even.
First of all, do you think his brothers are seeing this?
I hope not, bro. I hope not. They're probably angry. Okay. But like, think about it. Like, he's trying on the armor, the sword, the boots, whatever. He tries them on. He walks with them. He's like, I can't go in these. You know, I'm not used to them. I could imagine if that was me. I feel like if I put that armor on, I'd be like, all right, like, pumped up. Let's do this. I got the armor. Like, I'm ready. David didn't care about impressing nobody. And that was the cool part about that. It's like, he literally took it off. He was like, I don't need this. Like, he didn't care about impressing anybody or looking like a soldier. He's like, oh, now I'm a real soldier. He's been a soldier. You know, he's like, it's like the armor doesn't make him more equipped or more qualified. He's been qualified, you know?
Wow.
He didn't have to look the part. He if anything, he didn't look the part at all. He went with the clothes he had on from this house. Whatever he had on, whatever sandals he had on. Yeah. He didn't go fight him with like armor, like to actually protect himself. He just went out there the way he looked. But he didn't care. Like, I 100%, I don't think he cared about how his brothers think, like, oh, maybe my brothers would like actually think I'm cool now because I have armor on.
Right. Now, he was not thinking about that.
He was just thinking about, I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm gonna destroy Goliath because he's going against my God. He's not impressing nobody. He's not thinking about anybody's opinions. He's just going for it, and that's something that's so real. Like, he didn't even put it. He took it off. He took off the armor.
He was like, no, I'm not taking.
I don't need this. It doesn't. I'm not used to it, and I don't like it.
The way I took it that way too. That was so well said. Yeah. But also, do we not see a significance in the fact that he says, I'm not used to these? So he grabs what he is used to. What he was trained to do. The unusual weapon. Nobody shows up with stones and a slingshot. No. Everybody's in armor and swords.
That's different.
And he says,
unusual.
No. God trained me with this. My weapons aren't the same weapons as yours. My armor isn't the same armor as yours. I'm going to use what I've learned from God, what I've trained myself as a kid to use. I'm going to just take what I'm used to.
He's not being fake. He's just being real. He's like, I'm going to do this. I've been using this the whole time. I'm going to keep doing it. It's just so...
for him, it wasn't about blending in with everybody else.
Looking the part, just looking like a soldier, quote unquote.
He walked out there. He grabbed the stones himself. He didn't even send somebody. Walks out there. He's like, I'll grab the stones myself. Grabs them and he's like, puts them in his shepherd bag. I could imagine a ripped up bag. Like it's like it's old. It's crusty. He's like, he just throws his stones in there. He's like, all right, let's go. We out. He doesn't try to blend in. He doesn't try to be that guy because he knows he's that guy with God. He doesn't try to be. He's a man on a mission. That's how I view him. He's a man that is defending the name of God.
Crazy. And
it says he's walking out. He takes it and he's walking out to this valley. Meaning, we talked about how he was the two armies were facing. He's walking out facing this entire army with nothing but a slingshot and these stones. See, all right, okay, sure, it's very intimidating to walk out and face this giant. Not only is he facing this giant, but the entire Philistine army. And what's behind him? Not an army.
Bunch of scared people.
A bunch of scared people. They're terrified. They all probably don't want to look. They're like, oh my God, this poor boy.
This poor boy is about to get destroyed.
Is about to get slaughtered in front of our eyes. I can't imagine, although his brothers were disrespectful, I can't imagine what they were feeling. My little brother's out walking. Wait, what? Is that David? He's walking out there without armor? What? Yo, somebody stop him. This kid is crazy. I can't imagine what everybody was feeling. So he had a scared army behind him.
Wow.
But what else did he have behind him? Say it. So we can move on. Come on, just say it.
Oh, he had God.
He had God. All right. And so we see.
Goliath 41.
Oh, yeah. Goliath walked out toward David with his shield bearer ahead of him, sneering in contempt at this ruddy-faced boy. Sneering. This man is laughing.
Yeah, this guy's like, who the heck is this little boy?
This is Israel sending this 15-year-old boy. What? Come on.
I thought maybe it's a different translation, but I thought it's something different. I thought he was like, yo, are you guys so... Or maybe it's another story where it's like, are you guys this bad? Like, it's send a little boy to come fight me now?
Bro,
Like,
I mean, he says it here. He says, am I a dog?
oh, yeah.
He roared at David, that you come at me with a stick. Meaning David's skinny. David's this little tiny boy. Am I a dog? You come at me with a stick? And he cursed David by the names of his gods. Ooh, you did not want to do that. Come over here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and wild animals, Goliath yelled. David replied to the Philistine, you come to me with sword, spear, and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's army, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. First of all, he didn't even mention his stones or the slingshot. He was just like, bro. He named 3 weapons. He's like, I don't care. You come to me with all this. Because David at this point was so confident in God that he's like, you have all of this. You are 10 times my size.
Yeah.
And yet you're about to die. Imagine if I said that to you. We're about to wrestle. And you're not even bigger than me. Like, we're the same size. I mean, I guess you're bigger. Whatever. I say, Lewis, you come to me with all these muscles. All this wrestling background you have. But you're about to get absolutely destroyed. Disrespectful. There's disrespectful. Here we go. All right. Today the Lord will conquer you, and I will kill you and cut off your head. And then I will give the dead bodies of your men to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. So Goliath threatens to throw his flesh to the birds and the wild animals. David says, I will throw your entire army to that.
He's quick, yo. He's quick.
David got it. He probably learned from his brothers with all these snarky responses. Come on, bro. We got it.
Of course.
And everyone assembled here will know that the Lord rescues his people, but not with sword and spear. This is the Lord's battle, and he will give you to us.
He got it like that. He got it like that.
You know what I just saw? How did everybody think Jesus was going to show up? The Messiah. They were waiting for what?
Like a big king with his kingdom, right?
With an army ready to take down the Roman Empire. Yeah. But no, Jesus shows up as a baby. This vulnerable baby.
Yeah.
No weapons. Right? Do we see that resemblance here?
It's just I was looking into it, it's just part of the upside down kingdom, that God uses. Like you expect this huge king with this kingdom, all this power, no, but baby. Or, the servants will be the greatest. The first will be last. The last will be first. What? Oh, you're choosing a little boy to fight the giant? Not the tallest, oldest son? It's always like it's the upside that God uses. Crazy.
As Goliath moved closer to attack, David quickly ran out to meet him. Reaching into his shepherd's bag and taking out a stone, He hurled it with his sling and hit the Philistine in the forehead. The stone sank in, and Goliath stumbled and fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with only a sling and a stone, for he had no sword. Then David ran over and pulled Goliath's sword from his sheath. David used it to kill him and cut off his head.
Censor that, yo.
First of all, the stone sank in. This man has a helmet on. It sank in?
Bro.
Oh my gosh.
Pull that slingshot so back.
What about the significance of him falling face first? When you get hit, don't you get the whiplash and you fall back? He fell face first. I feel like that's more disrespectful. That's just more disrespectful.
Dude, David's a walking W everywhere. Like,
you literally cuts off his head.
Even Goliath fell face
and
down.
in the later chapters, this boy, I just want to throw this in there because I think it's so tough. David walks around with this guy's head.
Yeah.
The army of Israel floods in. They
they're all like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
Just go, you know.
All of a sudden they get this courage
up.
because this 15-year-old boy just killed everybody.
Nice.
And they go, now we want to fight. We're saved. Yeah. Bro, you're all grown men. This 15-year-old this boy just stood up for you, and now you want to have the courage, bruh. Whatever. David cuts his head off.
Yeah.
And walks around with his head, dude.
He's holding his head.
Bro, he holds it and walks around with it. And shows up to King Saul and just throws it at him. He's like, here's the head. Bro, David is so tough. How are you going to walk around with his head, bro? Just picture that scene. He's walking around with his head. The blood is dripping on the floor. And this man is just this 15-year-old boy. First of all, if he was 9 foot tall, like that head was big.
Word.
And David was small. Just carrying this head.
I don't know. David has some didn't he have weird trauma or something?
Bro, no. I mean, this boy was fighting.
Yeah.
Not even this boy. Like this is a grown man.
Yeah.
This is a grown man. I know he's 15, but the 15-year-olds of now, bro, are not the 15-year-olds of back then. No. That 15-year-old was
confidence.
Was built different. That was a grown man right there. But he walks around with his head. I'm just mind blown by that. That is so tough. All right, that's the story of David and Goliath.
Yeah.
What do you get from this? From all of it?
Well, okay, so that's a good question. So, as I was reading it, I got this I don't know how to call it, if it's like a system or just things to know. But what I got was I just wrote down a bunch of things that I saw from this story that I think a lot of us need, right? And so this is what I wrote down. This is what I got. So the first thing is just be faithful with what you have right now, right?
Yep.
As we already know, when it comes to David, before, because you go further in the story, David becomes the king.
At 30 years old.
Spoiler alert, yeah. But he becomes a king. He's not just shepherding sheep. He's shepherding a whole people. But before he was shepherding sheep, goats, taking care of them, fighting off lions, bears. He was, and like we saw there, when he left, he made somebody else be in charge. He was responsible. He was faithful to what he was in front of him at the moment. And what was in front of him at the moment was the sheep. So whatever is in front of you right now, be faithful to it. Be your best at it. When you leave, make sure there's somebody watching over it. Just be faithful to it, to what it is.
He did it at his best, at pure excellence. He got good at it. And people don't view that as training for something greater in the moment. But if David did not have that profession of learning to be a shepherd, how was he going to be a shepherd of an entire nation? Yeah. That was necessary. David had to been trained as a shepherd. Maybe he didn't see it in the moment, just like some of us sometimes don't see it.
Jesse, his father, didn't see it. Saul, the king of Israel, didn't see it, but God saw it. They didn't see that he could do it. That's why Jesse didn't bring him. Saul was like, you can't do it.
His brothers.
But only God knew what was in David. So that's the first thing. It's just be faithful for what's in front of you.
Wow.
And then, as I spoke before, don't compare. I don't think David compared, but it's very easy, because I've done it before too. It's very easy for us to compare ourselves to other people. And when we do that, we feel less than, we feel discouraged. We feel like we can't accomplish or just do what God has put in front of us to do, because we always have somebody else who looks more equipped, more for the job, more better, more willing to do it, more worth it. And so you feel less than, you feel like you're not enough, you can't accomplish it, all that stuff. You just can't, you won't help you out. It won't. Comparison does not help you out. Compare to despair, right? So don't compare, regardless if you're like David and you feel like you're less than, you have all these less than qualities, and then when you look at somebody else, they look way more qualified and seem way more capable to do it. No, God called you to do it.
Yeah.
So do it at your best.
Yeah.
And that's the second thing. The third one, I thought, it just with the...
I mean, also, before you continue, also seeing his brothers advance and him still be in the same thing.
Yet you see the honor he got after he killed Goliath. That they were chanting like, yo, Saul killed his thousands, David killed 10,000s. You know, like, he got that, like, that attention that he wasn't even looking for.
Wow.
But he got it, though. You know, and like the fact that they were, his brothers advanced, he was still taking care of his sheep, yet look what happened. God's timing is perfect.
Because his heart was in the
Because his heart was in the right place. God's timing was perfect. Just be faithful to where you're at. Only God knows what's going to happen in the future. Yeah. Boom. Third thing, don't impress, right? Easily with the armor, I just feel like that's so big because like he didn't keep it on just to feel like now he's a real soldier. Now he's really part of this army. No, like he's been part of the army. He's been a soldier. He's been this person who's capable to do it. Like he doesn't have to look the part. Don't impress. Don't like the fact he didn't keep it on. It just shows his heart. Like he did not care about looking like a soldier or like this, like that. He just went and did it. So don't impress, right? And like I just feel like those two things, comparison and impressing, can really get into the heart of a believer when it comes to, I don't know, ministry, when it comes to anything that God might be telling you to do. Easily, you know, we get pride mixed in, we get comparison mixed in that can really just like you know, it's not good. It's not good to have in your heart. And the third thing, don't listen to discouragement. Don't listen to discouragement when it's his older brother, whether it's Saul, whether it's the whole situation of not even being in the selection process initially. That his dad had to force him to was forced to get him to come to that place. Don't listen to the discouragement, because what if David, after hearing Saul, after hearing his brother, just went home? No Goliath killed, right? And I think about it like, you know, and the same thing, like what would have happened? You know what I mean? But he didn't listen, and like, you know, as like Nico was telling us, like, you know, David, his brother spoke to David, but then he walked away, you know? And so, yeah, that was weird. Anyways, and so that's that last thing. Don't listen to discouragement. And then two other things, have faith. You could just see David had crazy faith. Like this man walked up, again, the whole situation, little guy, huge dude, little guy wins, huge dude, done. Yeah. He loses. David wins. But he had that faith. He had that faith. Like, yo, I'm going to do this. Why are you defying my God? Like, I'm going to do all this stuff to you. And it did happen. Everything he said. Have faith. Believe that God will do these crazy things in your life. Believe it. But just believe it. Believe it. And then last thing, slay the giant, I guess. Slay the giant. Like, you know, whatever it is, like, you got to do, just, you're going to do it. Yeah. Just have faith. All these things. Be faithful. Don't compare. Don't impress. Don't listen to discouragement. Have faith and slay the giant. And again, I know we didn't want to say, like, what's your giant or whatever. Yeah, you know, just whatever it is, like, that is a big thing in front of you. You know, after, when you do this, when you have that in your heart, when you check your heart with these things and really internalize that stuff, like, that's just so, it's going to lead you to the right path. It's going to lead you to success. Yeah.
No, beautifully said. Beautifully said. Those were awesome notes. There is so much that we learned from the book, from this book, from the story of David and Goliath. So much encouragement, you know, like seeing somebody so young but so fearful.
Fearful and faith-filled.
Yep. Fear of God, that kind of fearful. But courageous and knowing that God had his back. We see his growth and preparation from when he was young, you know, like dealing with taking care of the sheep and the goats, and like not having that honor given to him when he does that. You know, that is a super beautiful and powerful job. It's a difficult job, but he didn't go, oh, good job for defending the sheep against the lions. Good job. Nobody knew about that. He wasn't seeking that honor. He did it in private. Crazy. You know, the things that God was giving him in private, he was, first of all, doing it to an excellence, but also doing it for God, not for everybody else, for his sheep. And so God saw his heart, you know, And what I did want to mention too is, remember the significance where God says, do not look at the height or the appearance.
Yes.
I see the heart. It was the same thing looking at Goliath. David saw it in God's eyes. David said, do not judge by this man's height or appearance, but I judge by the heart, and his heart is not for God. Mine is. This is heart v heart, not person v person. Oh, come on, bro. David saw that. David saw it from the Lord's eyes. That's so powerful. But I hope you guys got so much out of this. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of episode where we're studying the Bible together. If you guys did get something out of it, if you got encouragement,
let us know.
Blessings,
love to
wisdom,
know.
Please let us know. If you enjoyed this type of episode and you want more of these, drop it in the comments, share the video, like it. It helps us a ton. Share this with your friends and family. We love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Join the Patreon, and we'll see you guys for the next episode. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.